Claire had never felt her own heartbeat the way she did when she stepped into the quiet glass-walled cafe on Winter Street in Boston. Her fingers trembled, her scarf sat crooked around her neck, and exhaustion clung to her eyes like a shadow she could no longer hide. She wasn't just nervous. She was terrified that the man waiting for her might see the truth she'd been burying for months. Andrew Hayes sat at the corner table, looking nothing like the powerful CEO the city admired. Today, he looked like a man who'd come from somewhere personal, not professional, his navy sweater soft, his hair slightly messy, his expression gentle. Beside him sat his young daughter, Grace, drawing quietly with colored pencils. Claire almost turned around. She wasn't ready for this conversation. She wasn't ready for anyone to see how broken she truly was. But she forced herself to sit. Andrew studied her face, noticing the tension in her shoulders, the way she avoided his eyes, the quiet storm she was trying so hard to hide. And then he asked the one question she'd prayed no one would ever notice. "Claire, when was the last time you had a safe place to sleep? Not are you okay? Not why are you late? Not what happened. A real question. A human question. One that shattered what little strength she had left." Her eyes filled instantly. Her breath caught. Her hands trembled. And for the first time in months, she cried in front of someone. The truth spilled out slowly, painfully. The shelters. The church basements. Raising her 8-year-old nephew after her sister's sudden death. Pretending she was fine every morning while washing up in cold sinks. Saving every penny of her paycheck, hoping for a miracle that never came. She expected judgment, or pity, or disappointment, but what she found in Andrew's eyes was recognition. A softness shaped by his own grief. A man who had lost his wife 2 years earlier and learned how to live with heartbreak while raising a child alone. He knew what it meant to look strong while falling apart inside. Without saying a word, he slid a folded sheet of paper across the table. Claire hesitated, then opened it. Her breath froze. Hayes Community Housing Initiative. Employee Assistance Grant. She had heard rumors about it, but never believed someone like her would qualify. But Andrew gently explained that he had reviewed her situation himself. Her hard work, her kindness, her quiet resilience, she had earned this. The grant covered 3 months of rent in a company-owned apartment. Essential living supplies, childcare support, a flexible work schedule so she could rebuild her life. Claire could barely speak. No one had ever offered her more than temporary help. But this was a lifeline. Grace suddenly tapped Claire's arm and offered her a drawing. 3 figures stood holding hands under a bright sun: Grace, Andrew, and a little boy with brown hair. "Is that Ethan?" Claire whispered. Grace nodded with a shy smile. "Daddy said a new friend might join us soon." Claire pressed the drawing to her chest as tears of relief streamed down her face. Within a week, her life changed. She and Ethan moved into a small but warm apartment with clean carpets and soft beige walls. Ethan ran around excitedly, spinning in circles and declaring it smelled like new beginnings. Claire cried that first night, not from fear, but from gratitude. Her days transformed. She arrived at work early, steady, rested. Ethan flourished in daycare. Her coworkers noticed her new glow, even if they never knew what she had gone through. Andrew checked in often, always respectfully. Not as a boss watching an employee, but as a person making sure another human being didn't feel alone. And Grace, she grew attached to Claire in a way no one expected. She would sit at Claire's desk, showing drawings, asking about Ethan, giggling softly in the comfort she'd been missing since her mother's passing. Slowly, quietly, something beautiful began to take shape. Not romance, not obligation, something gentler. A connection built on compassion, shared pain, and healing. Andrew admired her strength. Claire admired his heart. And Grace simply felt safe again. Weeks turned into months, and the 3 adults and 2 children became something unexpected. Something like a family. Claire would later say her life changed the moment Andrew asked that single question, when someone finally saw her not for her mistakes, but for her humanity. And Andrew would say it reminded him of something his late wife once told him. Sometimes saving someone else is what saves you, too. In that quiet cafe on Winter Street, where Claire once sat trembling and afraid, a new chapter began, one built not on charity, but on kindness, dignity, and second chances. If this story touched you, remember this: kindness still exists.